Hello, students. Good morning to all of you. I hope you will be fine at home. So, today we are going to start our lecture, that is the DC machines. Means in DC machine, we are going to study about types of losses. So, basically, at the starting of this lecture, or we can say this unit, we can say, uh, at the starting, I told you that machine one is totally deals with the direct current machines in rotating part. If I'm talking about non-rotating means is the machines having no rotating part, that is transformer. So transformer is basically non-rotating and based on the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction, but having no movement of any coil. In transformer, the flux is vary by its own value. Own value means we give DC and we give AC. If we give DC, then the flux will be the of DC nature because I phi is proportional to I. Phi is equals to Li. So if I am giving you or giving the circuit that is current in the form of DC, so straight line. So the flux will be the straight line, or we can say DC. But if I am giving AC, the flux will be the variable nature of variable, or we can say alternating nature. If alternating nature is there, it means the flux in the nature of vary. So that varies and moves to the second coil and basically cut or vary. Then what will happen? The Faraday law of electromagnetic induction take place. I hope you understand. So this is the non-rotating machine. But if I am talking about the rotating electrical machines one, rotating electrical machines one, it means I am talking about the DC machines. And if I am talking about the DC machines, so DC machines are two types: motor and generator. Conversion from electrical to mechanical is motor. Vice versa of it means conversion from mechanical to electrical is generator. Those generators we are not using nowadays because if we want to convert AC into DC, we can directly convert with the help of rectifiers. And rectifiers we have on the diode base, or we can say converters also on the base of SCR, silicon control rectifiers. So through them, or we can say by the help of these devices, instrument, equipments, elements, we can directly convert the alternating current into direct current. So DC generators we are not using, but we have to understand how DC generator works because it at the ancient time the first development was generator, that is of DC. Then we basically invented about the AC. So we make AC generators, that is known as alternator, and we will going to study this alternator in the next semester. That in the subject of electrical machine two, second we can say. So in this electrical machine one, in the unit number one, we have studied about the magnetic circuit. Magnetic field is the second. First is the magnetic field and circuit, and second is the magnetic force and torque. That is electromagnetic force and torque. So magnetic circuit, I earlier told you if I don't have any coupling, any intermediate, any dividing, or we can say any the clubbing or grouping circuit, I can't able to convert electrical to mechanical, mechanical to electrical, because we have basically understood so many laws, and basically we have studied about these so many laws. So these laws basically, so these laws are totally based on the electromagnetic energy conversion. But in the electromagnetic energy conversion, basically they give you the brief uh, knowledge about the magnetic field, that is electromagnetic interaction or electromagnetic conversion, you can say magnetic I am using. So electromagnetic, that is why the transformer is an electromagnetic device, and we can say the motor and generator are working on the electromechanical energy conversion. So magnetic circuit meaning, so first unit tells you about the magnetic circuit. In that unit basically I told you about the property of magnetic material. We having two things: magnet and permanent magnet and ferromagnet. Permanent magnet easily available, persist a magnetic field always whenever you want. But if I'm talking about the electromagnets, so electromagnets we can make magnetic field by the help of current by applying the Biot-Savart law. I hope you understand. Okay. Then in the unit number two, basically we deals with the force. If I'm applying, basically I'm having a we can say a magnetic field. or we can generate a magnetic field, that is electromagnet. So if I'm generating the electromagnet, by the help of that electromagnet we can introduce flux in a circuit, and if that flux is cutting, then what will happen? EMF will introduce. Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. But if a current carrying conductor plays in a magnetic field, it experiences a force, and that force will apply a torque. So it will start rotating like this. This is your stator, and this is the stator. This is your rotor, like this. So this happens due to the magnetic field. If magnetic field and circuits we have, then we can have magnetic force and torque. So first unit deals with the field and circuit. How many which type of magnetic field we have? Two. We can say series and parallel. Okay. Circuits we have this thing. Now field we can generate with the help of we denote as flux, P, H, density, intensity. Okay. I hope you understand. Reluctance, flux lines. So these are the things, and analogy with the current. Okay. So we have studied about these all magnetic by the in the basically 2 units, first and second. And in this third unit, basically we are going to study or studied there's so many things that is related to DC machines. In DC machines, fundamental of DC machines. Okay, construction. In construction, we having yoke, field which generate magnetic field, which create magnetic field. So that magnetic field created by the help of that electromagnet known as field. Known as what? Field. Okay, so that is the field we can say the field pole. Okay, pole core made up of narrowmagnetic material. Pole shoe, also known as pole face. Armature, the main part, rotating part, which cuts the flux by its own rotation. Okay, so armature, then armature core, armature slots, armature winding. Because if armature doesn't have any winding, so we can't able to basically generate or create, or by cutting the flux we can make or induce any EMF to that armature winding. And if I induce, if in this armature the induced, we can say the current is induced or the EMF is induced, we can convert into the unidirection, because bidirectional current we have. So we convert into unidirection and directly provide to the terminals with the help of brushes. Okay, so we having commutator, we need, because bidirectional to unidirectional. So commutation we need reversal of current. How can we improve? Okay, by applying resistance commutation means carbon brushes. By EMF, that is interpole. We having the armature reaction, because if armature having the core and winding, the flux will generate. So armature flux and field flux interact each other, and armature flux basically demagnetize and cross magnetize the main field flux. Okay, so how can we reduce it? By applying compensating winding and copoles or interpoles. Okay, so types of armature winding: lap wave, induced EMF. We have studied, that is 5 ZLP by 60, and torque is proportional to EB into IA. That is EB is 5 ZLP by 60 and IA is the armature current. So many things we have studied nowadays. In the arm, if I'm talking about the voltage, that is V is equals to EB plus IAR in motor. Then generator it is EB minus IAR. Okay, so EG in generator we called as EG, but in motor we called as EB, that is back EMF, and it is generated as per the same of generating action, that is Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. But my dear student, in generator we called as generating EMF, and in motor we called as what? Back EMF, as per the direction. Okay, so this is all about we have studied before by my lecture by with the help of my series of lectures. So I hope you understand this thing. Now today, basically in this lecture, what I want to tell you, or what we will going to study, my dear students. So first is the types of process. Now one thing I want to tell you, at the time of construction, means at the time of starting of this unit, I told you that the core of both, basically field core, or we can say pole core, for example, if I'm talking about the pole core means, I'm talking about the north and south pole means electromagnetic poles. Now, poles are there, though I can make poles with the help of ferromagnetic material. We generally use the iron, basically the cast iron in small machines. But if I want to talk about the higher HP motors or higher watt machines, the generator, so we use what? Steel sheets, and in that steel we use silicon content. Now, if I'm talking about the core, so we laminate that core. Why, my dear student, we laminate that core? Because if we don't laminate, then one loss takes place. That is eddy current loss, and one more loss also take place. That is hysteresis. So hysteresis is dependent on the BH curve. That is reversal of magnetism that we have studied in the unit number 1. BH curve and the basically the saturation, then demagnetization. So that denotes the demagnetization, reversal of magnetism. You can say. So we heard so many things about this, that we have to laminate it, we have to use it. So these are totally based on the losses. So in this lecture, we are going to study about the types of losses. Now, if I am starting this lecture, though, there will be some objective of myself or you, my dear students. First is help the students to understand about the basic of DC machines and generator. We cover up the basically DC machine as generator, how it works, in which law it basically based. Then we are going to study how losses take place, and make students familiar with the types of losses in DC machine. Means how many losses we can find in DC machines. So later on we'll talk about this, but before this second point, we consider on the first point, that is have the student means you, my dear students, understand about the basics. If we don't know about the root, we don't know about the concepts, then how can we go through that way? Okay. Now, if I want to go one place to another, if I don't know how to go and I have no conveyance that how can we go through, then how can we reach there? So I have to know the concepts, basic things, that how much kilometers from our house, how can we reach there, some roads we have to know. So these all are basics. So first is the basics, then make a students familiar with the types of losses. How many types of losses in DC machines we have basically while motor generator works. Because if they don't have losses, then the efficiency will be 100%. But my dear student, no one have 100% efficiency. Maximum efficient machine, that is we can say electrical machine, is transformer, because in transformer we're having some less losses compared to motor and generator. And in basically DC machine, if I'm talking about, so in DC machine we having the rotating part, but if I'm talking about transformer, transformer doesn't having any rotating. So I hope you understand. Now, moving forward, generator principle. Now, an electric generator is based on the principle that whenever flux is cut by a conductor, whenever flux is cut by a conductor, an EMF is induced, which will cause a current to flow if the conductor circuit is closed. Now, one thing, my dear student, basically we can say this law or this principle is by the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction, because as per the Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction, what it states, whenever the flux linkage changes, or we can say whenever we find a change in flux linkage, then there will be an induced EMF in that circuit. And if circuit is closed, then current will flow. The EMF induced is known as induced EMF, and the current which is it's flowing in that circuit while it is closed is known as induced current. So that is we can find, and that is the basic principle. Now, if I'm talking about the E induced, we can call as velocity into what? What? That is B, magnetic field, into length. That is the basic. But we find with the help of E is equal to d phi by dt. That is from what? From where? Tell me. From where? Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. Okay. Now, the direction of induced EMF and hence current is given by Fleming's right hand rule. Now, if I'm talking about the direction of induced EMF, my dear student, and hence current is given by Fleming right hand rule. Therefore, the essential component of a generator are The essential components of a generator are what? First, magnetic flux. 5. Conductor or a group of conductors. We having in armature. We having what? In armature. That we denote as Z. While we are deriving an EMF equation, while we are deriving an EMF equation in generator. So I told you Z. Let Z is what? Armature conductors. And conductors always place in a slot. 1 ton is equals to 2 conductors. Okay. Now, third, motion of conductor with respect to magnetic flux. Motion of the conductor like this. If magnetic flux is moving like this, so motion of the conductors with respect to magnetic flux. Okay. So three things we have to consider for it, and we have to take in our account. First is the magnetic flux. Second is the conductor or group of conductors. You can say motion of conductor with respect to magnetic flux. And the question is V into B into N. Now moving forward, now Fleming right hand. See, if three fingers of a right hand, namely thumb, first is thumb, index finger and middle finger. Three fingers we can use only from our hand because we have four fingers and one thumb. So we are using the three finger in a consonant manner, but one thumb and two fingers. We are basically using one thumb and two fingers, and middle which is basically which type of fingers we are using. First is your thumb, second is your index. First is your thumb, second is your index finger, and third is your middle finger. Okay, are outstretched, so that every one of them is at right angles. Every one of them is at right angles. Okay, right angles with the remaining two. And if this position index finger is made to point in a direction of flux lines, thumb in a direction of relative motion, movement, force, torque, we can say rotation, okay, of conductor with respect to flux, then the outstretched middle finger gives the direction of EMF induced in a conductor. Now see, this is your flux line moving. This is the motion of conductor and induced EMF. We having the we can say the perpendicular like this. Now see, what I want to show you. This thumb is showing you what? The motion or the velocity of the conductor in a magnetic field. Index finger showing magnetic field, thumb showing force and motion, and the induced EMF. That middle finger is showing you the induced EMF. This is your induced EMF. This is your magnetic flux, or we can say field, and this shows you thumb showing you what? Thumb is showing you the motion of the conductor. Force, we can say. So force, B and E. Okay, through this we can see it is the basically given by Fleming right hand rule. I hope you understand. Now moving forward, simplest rotating DC machine. Now simplest rotating DC machine will tell you here we having the north and south pole. This is your field, north pole and south pole, and this is your rotor which rotates basically in a motion in a loop. So first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. So we can say first having the zero, no cutting of the flux. We can say now in second we cutting the flux but not maximum. So we are getting the value starting but not maximum. In third, we can say perpendicular to it like this. At perpendicular middle position, it cut the more flux, maximum flux. So at the position of 3, we are getting the maximum flux. Now in 4, we are again like this. In a perpendicular line, like moving this, so we are getting the lower. So here at 1, we are getting the initial, that is 0, and second we are getting some value, but at 3 we are getting the maximum value. But in 4 we are again reversing. Now 5 again 0, moving, because for example I am at the north pole, now I'm moving to the south pole. Like this, it is your north and it is your south, we can consider. So in north pole I am moving like this 1 2 3 4, that is the maximum. Or at 5 we are again 0, it is moving. Now in this south again 6 7 8 reversal. So like this, see, first, second, third, the maximum it is perpendicular like this we can say. Now again fourth we having initial, fifth having the rotation reversal, so that is the 0 value. And six we are getting the again some value which is some flux are cutting there, but in 4 and 1 and 5 position no flux are cutting this, parallel we can say, not here. Then on sixth position we are cutting some, then we are getting the value, but in seventh we are at the perpendicular side, means maximum value we are getting. And eighth, we are getting again value but less than 2 maximum. Then at again 1, we again initial position like this movement, like this we are again, for example, like moving like this, we are moving like this opposite, so we are getting the same position, that is 1. So that is easy. So EMF will generate in a loop. Cutting the flux, then what will happen? We are getting the EMF. Now moving forward, my dear student, when the loop is in the position number 1, I earlier told you the generated EMF is 0 because the coil sets A, B, C, D are cutting no flux and moving parallel to it. When the loop is in the position number 2, the coil sets are moving at an angle to the flux, and therefore low EMF is generated and indicated by the point. When the loop is in position number 3, the coil sides AB and CD are at right angle, perpendicular to the flux, and are therefore cutting the flux. It cuts the maximum flux, or we can say cutting the maximum flux at maximum rate. We can say cutting the flux at which rate? Maximum, at your maximum. Okay, so hence at this instant the generated EMF is maximum as indicated by point number 3. As indicated by point number 3. I hope you understand. It is shown here at point number 3. Okay, now moving forward, at the position number 4, at the position number of 4, the generated EMF is less. At the position number of 4, what happened? The generated EMF is less because the coil starts are cutting the flux at angle. We can say 0 value. At position number 5, no magnetic flux are cut, and hence induced EMF is 0 as indicated by 0.5. So we are getting the 0, but at 4 we are having the minimum, but at 0.5 we are getting the 0. At position 6, at position number 6, the coil size moves under a pole of opposite polarity. A pole of which? A pole of opposite polarity. Okay, and has the direction of generated EMF is reversed. First direction this, then second direction will become reversed like this. First like this, then second like this. Okay. Now the maximum EMF in this direction, that is reverse direction, will be when the loop is at position 7. Will be when the loop is at position number 7, and 0 when at position number 1. This cycle repeats with each revolution of the coil. This cycle repeats with each revolution of the coil. Now 360 is the one rotation, one revolution of cycle. Then we are having 720. Okay, then we can move it. 1080, then 1440. We can scale like this. So 2 pi, we can say 4 pi, 2 pi, 4 pi, 6 pi, 8 pi. So we are getting the cycle, 4 cycles. If I am talking about 2 pi, means 1 cycle. If I am talking about 4 pi, means 2 cycles. If I am talking about 6 pi, means third cycle. And if I am talking about 4 pi, that is the fourth cycle. So that is revolution each coil of the revolution of the coil. You can see. I hope you understand. Now, first part we have covered. Now the second part is starting right now. Now total losses in a DC machine. Now, my dear student, if I am talking about the losses in a DC machine, so we having these 3 categories. Okay, first is your total loss. We can say the total loss categorized in a one form, that is the total losses. Now first loss is your copper loss, second is your iron loss, third is your magnetic loss. Now copper loss is always known as copper because from the ancient time the winding was made up of from copper. That is why we are using this copper loss. Okay, now iron loss is basically due to the magnetic material, we can say the magnetic core material. We are making the core, that is we are making convert into making or converting into the a magnetic field or magnetic path or magnetic material, you can say the magnetic in a concise manner. So if I am talking about the magnetic core, means the core which is made up of material. In the ancient time we use iron, but nowadays we are using steel or sheets. But iron loss we are calling as, but this iron loss we can also call as core loss because it is take place in the magnetic core. So core loss, and another one is the magnetic losses. So iron loss categorized in 3 category uh, as per their same name, having the same name. That is the iron loss means we can say magnetic loss, core loss, and iron loss. Third is your mechanical loss. Third is your magnetic. This is due to the rotation. This is due to the force applied and torque take place. So this torque, rotation, revolution per minute, rotation per minute, revolution per second, rotation per second, rotating torque. So these take place. These comes in the category of magnetic losses. Now, if I'm talking about my dear student copper loss, so we having first armature, because armature having the winding. This is also known as winding loss. Later on, I'll tell you what is it. Now, if I'm talking about the copper loss, so armature also having the winding. So in armature we having again loss, that is armature copper loss. Shunt means we have two types. I am basically tell you yesterday, or we consider in the previous lecture, I told you there are two types. First is the separately excited, another one is the self excited. In separately excited, we give separately supply. Okay, but if I'm talking about self excited, we doesn't give separately supply, but we basically based on the residual magnetism. Residual magnetism means remaining, some remaining magnetic field, because in magnetic field there is some stored energy, so that is magnetic field. So if I'm talking about the remaining field means, you can say remaining magnetic field, that is known as residual magnetic field, residual magnetism. So residual magnetism we can give to the field and we can take to the load also, and if I'm cutting that field, we are getting more flux or more EMF. That EMF again we give load and field. So how can we do it? We can connect the field winding with armature. In which manner we can connect? First, we can connect armature winding with field winding in a series. So we can say series one. Self excited first part is the series one. Now, if I want to connect into the shunt manner, that is parallel. So that is known as shunt mode. That is known as what? Shunt mode. So series mode we have, then we having the what? Shunt mode. Series wound, then shunt wound. I hope you understand. So armature copper loss you understand, then we having the shunt, then we have the series. And the third, that is known as compound. In compound we having two things, series or shunt. So we can connect series or shunt both with the armature. Again, we having two types of that is long shunt and short shunt. In long shunt, we make a shunt of longer size, small size of series, and in short shunt, we make a short size of the shunt and same size of series. So we can also possess differential and cumulative compound. Differential compound and cumulative compound. So these are all. So that is why here it is written here, the armature having the copper loss, then we having the field copper loss also, because we having the winding in the field also. So in field we having two types, shunt and series. So series copper loss and shunt copper loss. I hope you understand. Then we having the iron losses. That we also called as magnetic losses and core losses. That we also called as, my dear student, what? Magnetic losses and core losses. So if I'm talking about the total iron losses are of two types, hysteresis and eddy current. Hysteresis and eddy current. Now third is the mechanical losses due to rotation, movement, or we can say the rotation of the rotor or armature. In DC we called as armature, but in AC we called as rotor. So two losses are there. One is the friction, another one is the voltage. So copper loss, armature copper loss, rotor copper loss we can say. Field copper loss having two types, shunt or series. So shunt copper loss and series copper loss. R losses having two types, hysteresis, eddy current. Then we have the mechanical losses, friction and voltage. Now take a look on it. Now total losses in our DC machines. Copper losses, R losses and mechanical losses. Copper losses are mainly due to current passing through the winding. Current passing through the winding. Armature copper loss is 30 to 40% of full load losses. For example, if I'm taking as a for example, if I'm talking about generator. Now in generator 10 watt I am getting as a loss. Total full load loss I am getting 10%, or we can say 100 watt, then 10% is 10. So 10 watt I am getting as a loss. So in that 10 we having 3 or 4 watt is this one, that is armature copper loss. That is 30 to 40. I hope you understand. That is 30 to 40. Understand? Now I am getting the basically 100 watt for understanding output of the basically the generator. 100 watt. In that 100 watt, what happens if I'm talking about the 100 watt, my dear student? So in 100 watt, okay, in 100 watt, the 10% is the full load loss, total full load loss, we can say. So 10% means 10 watt. In 10 watt, 30 to 40% is your armature copper loss, that is the 3 to 4 watt. Okay. Now second, shunt copper loss. Shunt means field copper loss basically. So in field we having 20 to 30%, means 2 to 3. 3 to 4 is armature copper loss and 2 to 3 is your shunt copper loss. And series field copper loss also. Now armature copper loss is given by IA square R. Is given by IA square R. IA square RA means IA is your armature current and resistance in that armature winding is known as RA. So my dear student, this copper loss is not a special type of loss. It is basically the loss due to resistance, or we can say heat loss, power loss. So that is I square R. Simple way we can say I square R. But if I'm talking about the machines winding, so we having the armature winding, so we can say IA square RE. If I'm talking about the shunt, then we can say ISH square RSH. If I'm talking about series, so we can say ISE square RS. Okay, so here it is written: R is your armature resistance, I is your armature current. Losses due to brush contact resistance usually include in armature copper loss. Now brush contact losses we have includes in armature copper loss, that is 30 to 40%. Now shunt field copper loss is given by ISH square RSH. Where in this RSH is your what? Shunt field resistance. Is what? Shunt field resistance. And ISH is your shunt field current. So ISH square RSH. I hope you understand. Now if I'm talking about the series field copper loss, my dear student, series field copper loss. So in this series field copper loss, that is your ISE, that is series current. You can say series field current, and RISE is your the field resistance, series field resistance. So ISE square RSE for series, that is series field resistance, or we can series field losses, and RSE is your series field resistance, and ISE is your series field current, and ISS square RSS for shunt field, and we can say IA square RA is for armature. So armature copper loss, field copper loss, that is of two type field, shunt and series, and compound we can say the whole. Whole means shunt and series both. I hope you understand. Now moving forward, see, iron losses, that is also known as magnetic losses. Now iron losses is basically what? Is your magnetic losses, and also known as core losses. Because why I'm calling as iron loss? See, I want to tell you one thing. Why I'm calling as iron loss? The basic behind this thing is that in ancient time, basically we use iron to make our magnetic core. Because if I'm talking about the ferromagnetic material, so in ferromagnetic material, we always used to say that iron first, iron, because from the ancient time, iron we have a very cheaper. Nowadays, iron is cheaper compared to the more metal. If I'm compare the iron with aluminum, now aluminum is costly. Iron with copper, again copper is costly. Iron with silver, no comparison, very much costly silver. Iron with gold, very much costly. Nickel, cobalt, so many things. So they are very costly compared to the iron. So we can start from the basic cheapest cost, that is iron. And in the ancient time, we are using from the ancient time we are using the iron to make a core. Now in small machines we are again use the iron. But if I'm talking about the we can say what, the heavy duty machines, higher HP, then we use the steel sheet or steel as per our DH curve, which I already told you in the unit number 1. Okay, so I hope you understand now. So that is why it is known as iron loss, because core is made up of iron, and we can also call as the losses take place in core. So we can also call it as core losses. What we call as core losses, and it is in the magnetic path of this magnetic part of the basically the machine. So we can also call it as magnetic losses. Now it is 20 to 30% again, 2 to 3 watt. 3 to 4 watt is your armature copper loss. 2 to 3 watt is your, means 30 to 40 is your armature copper loss. 20 to 30 is your what? 20 to 30 is your shunt field copper loss. Now remaining, or we can say the other loss is 20-30% of that 10 watt, or we can say full load losses is this. These losses are basically, these are of two types. One is hysteresis, another one is eddy current. First one is your hysteresis, another one is your eddy current. Taking the hysteresis. Now the losses is due to the reversal of magnetization of the armature. Of what? Armature. Every portion of rotating core passes under north and south pole alternately. Every portion of the core. Now, for example, this is your stator, or we can say field, and this is your armature. So armature always rotate like this. So if it is rotating like this, my dear student, so it is basically doing what? Every portion of rotating core pass under north pole, then again south pole alternately. When it is in south pole, then alternately again it is in the north pole, then north pole and south pole. So alternately it is moving like this. It's straight, but it is moving. So thereby attaining south and north polarity, north and south and north polarity respectively, the core undergoes one complete cycle of magnetic reversal. One complete cycle of magnetic reversal after passing under one pair of poles. After passing under one pair of poles. This is one pair of poles, north to south. This is north, this is south. We can say like this. North, then again south. So core undergoes one complete cycle of magnetic reversal after passing under one pair of poles, where P is the number of poles, A is the armature speed, N is the armature speed in RPM, and frequency of magnetic reversal will be given by F is equals to NP by 120. Frequency is given by magnetic reversal basically. Now see one, my dear student. If I am talking about DC, what I am talking about? I am talking about DC. So in DC we having no frequency. The frequency value in DC we having 0. But if I am talking about AC, the frequency is 50 hertz in India. In our Asian countries, not European. In European countries, we are having 60 hertz. So if I am talking about the frequencies, frequency of magnetic reversal. So that is given by NP by 120. When N is the speed and P is number of poles, and 120 is the basic, the value numerical. So the losses depend upon the volume and the B max. Volume of the core and the B maximum, that is maximum flux density, and frequency of reversals, and frequency of reversal. Okay. Now the hysteresis loss is given by the Stamets constant. The Stamets constants, for, or we can say the Stamets formula, that is WH is equals to neta P 1.6 maximum, that is maximum flux density, with the power of 1.6, F that is frequency, V is the volume of that core. So WH is equals to neta P 1.6 maximum, frequency and velocity in watts, because it is a loss in the form of power. So we gave the unit watt. Now V is the volume of the core in meter cube, volume of the core, and N or neta is the Stamets hysteresis coefficient. You can say the constant, that is hysteresis coefficient neta. I hope you understand. Now moving forward, eddy current losses. Now see, what is eddy current losses and why it take place, and how can we remove this also. One thing is there, my dear student, if I want to remove the, or eliminate the hysteresis loss, then we can use silicon contained steel. Okay. Now when the armature core rotates like this, it is rotating. See here, it is rotating like this. Okay. It cuts the magnetic flux, hence an EMF induced. Hence an EMF induced in the body. Hence an EMF induced in the body of the core. Of the core according to Faraday law of electromagnetic induction that we know, our generator principle. Now this EMF through small step sets up large current in the body of the core. What happens? This EMF through small setups, through small setup is there, large current in the body. This EMF through small setups, large current in the body of the core due to its small resistance. It's having the small resistance. So small resistance is small than maximum current flow. So more current will flow into the small setup. This current is known as eddy current. This current is known as what? Eddy current. These cores are lamination, or we can say these core laminations are insulated from each other by a thin coating of varnish. So many laminations we have, but what we use? Thin coating of varnish for the insulation purpose. Due to the core body being one continuous solid iron piece, that is shown in figure A. See here. Now, due to the core body being one continuous solid iron piece, figure A shown here, the magnitude of the eddy current is large. Now, what happens? The magnitude of the eddy current is what? Large, maximum. As armature cross-sectional area is large, as armature cross-section area is very large, its resistance is small. R is equals to L by A. If resistance is increasing, area is decreasing. If area is decreasing, the resistance is increasing. A high, resistance, or we can say R low. A means area low, R means resistance high. So very high resistance. If area is having low, area is having high, so we can say see here small core. Okay. Now hence magnitude of eddy current is reduced considerably, thereby reducing eddy current losses. How can we reduce this current? Basically, we can remove like this. Now see here, it is set up like this. So how can we remove it? We can make laminations. So if I want to make laminations, though we use varnish for the insulation purpose between the laminations to reduce this, okay, this loss. Now how can we calculate? The value is given here, that is VE is equals to K P maximum square F square T square B square 1. Now here what are the basic things they have? The B maximum is maximum flux densities. What is B maximum here? B M or B maximum we are using for maximum flux densities. Maximum flux densities. Now F is the frequency of magnetic reversal. F is what? NP by 120. I earlier told you in the hysteresis loss it is given here. NB by 120. Now see here. NP by 120. Now, so B maximum is your maximum flux density. F is the frequency of magnetic reversal. Volume of the armature core is given by V, and the T is the thickness of lamination. So this is given by like this: WE is equals to KB maximum square F square V square and T square watts, because it is a power factor. Now WE is basically related to the T square. Hence T should be kept small as possible. If I am increasing the thickness more, then W will be the more. Okay, so we have to make minimum thickness, not maximum. I hope you understand proportionally. Now, eddy current loss is reduced by the laminated core, but hysteresis loss cannot be reduced by this. Through this, we can say we can't reduce the eddy current loss. Okay, we can't reduce the eddy current loss. But if I were to, we can't basically control the through this we can control the eddy current loss, but the hysteresis loss we can't reduce with this way. We use the silicon with steel. Okay, 5 to 7% silicon with steel. Now, mechanical losses. 32%, for example, 30 to 40% armature copper loss, 20 to 30% shunt copper loss, 20-30% what? RL losses. Okay, eddy current and hysteresis in combined form. Now, remaining 10 to 20% losses are friction and windage. Friction and windage, that comes in the category of mechanical losses. Basically, they are coming in the category of mechanical losses. So first is your friction loss. So friction loss is due to bearings. Now we having the bearings, and with the help of these bearings, the shaft rotates. With the help of this bearing, what happened? The shaft rotates with the help of the bearing. I earlier told you in the construction. So that is due to this. Now windage loss. Windage loss due to the air gap between armature and forge. Now this is your pole field, and this is your armature. Now it rotates. So we having like this. Now it rotates like this. So this is due to the air gap, that this will the loss become wind plus H. Wind combination with H. So we having the H and windage. So windage loss due to the air gap between armature and forge. Then 10 to 20% is this one, means 1 to 2. 1 to 2. I hope you understand. Now moving forward, 30 to 40 are the copper loss, basically the copper loss, that is armature copper loss. 20-30% of full load loss. Full load loss basically what we have, That is the shunt field copper loss. Then if I am talking about the iron losses, then we are having 20-30%. Two losses are there: eddy current and hysteresis. Now 10 to 20% are the friction losses or vintage losses, means mechanical losses. Now moving forward, stray losses. Stray losses is also known as rotational losses. Now magnetic losses and mechanical losses means eddy current and hysteresis. Eddy current, hysteresis, friction and vintage losses means collectively are known as stray losses, also known as rotating losses, rotation losses. Losses are classified into two types. First one is the constant losses, that is standing, not changing. WC we are denoting it. So that called as standing losses, constant losses. So field copper loss is constant. For shunt and compound generator are constant losses. So stray losses plus shunt copper losses are combined called constant losses. Stray losses plus shunt copper losses are combined called as constant losses. Means we can say these stray losses and shunt copper losses are combinedly called as constant losses. Now variable losses. Variable losses, these losses which varies with the load called variable losses. Constant is not varying with the load, but the variable losses vary with the load. So that is why it is known as variable losses. So armature copper loss is known as variable loss, but field copper loss is known as constant loss. In series generator, series field copper loss is also variable losses. We can say IL is equals to ISE is equals to I. Now total losses, we can say armature copper loss plus WC, that is constant loss. So IE square RA plus WC. You can also write like this: I plus ISA square RA plus WC. Now total losses we can also call as variable losses plus constant losses. I hope you understand. Now moving forward, this is the flow diagram. What is it? This is the power flow diagram of generator. Now in generator we basically convert mechanical to electrical. So we are giving the torque, that is power in torque and speed. We are having the stray losses, means these losses. We can say the rotational losses. Then we are having the mechanical losses. Then we are having the core losses. Now here torque will convert it into A into IA, means magnetic field. We give mechanical with the help of the, we can say, Faraday law of an electromagnetic magnetic induction. In interaction, induction is there. Motor we having interaction. Now it's converted into the EE, that is power. I square R losses, can say copper losses. Then we have the P out, that is VT, voltage terminal and load. This is for the generator. I hope you understand. Now giving the mechanical, taking electrical output, giving mechanical input and taking electrical. Now similar to that, we having the power flow diagrams of DC motor. Here we having the VTIA, means electrical. I square RA loss. Now EA will convert into the basically the rotation, that is electromagnetic induction. Then we having the core loss, mechanical losses, stray losses, and we are getting the torque and speed. That is mechanical. I hope you understand. Now see this thing. I hope you understand. Now moving forward, this is the stages: magnetic power input, output of driving engine, iron friction loss, electric power developed, EGIA, copper losses, and electric power output. And we can also call the efficiency total watts generated in armature upon mechanical power supply in output upon input. Watts available in load circuit, that is VI, total watt generated, that is EG, generating F into I. What's available in the load circuit? Mechanical power supply. These basically we are getting electrical, but we are giving mechanical. So the overall efficiency we can like this: Nm is given, and neta m and neta e, means product of neta m into neta e. So this is basically the efficiency. How can we get of generator? Motor having the different. I hope you understand, my dear student, about this all. Now, the multiple choice question related to this. The iron losses are considered to be constant losses. It depends on. So voltage frequency, we having both, because iron losses, voltage and frequency, so both A and B. That is, copper losses in a rotating machine is called as what? Variable losses, stray losses. Stray losses are the losses which vary with the load, but their relationship with load current cannot be identified. Stray losses is the maximum in DC machines. The brush contact losses in a DC machine is directly proportional to the current. Electrical power output in a DC generator is equal to mechanical power input. We are giving iron friction loss and copper losses, as we have already seen in the power flow diagram. Mechanical power developed in the armature of a DC motor is given by electric power into input to the motor, copper loss, motor output plus iron friction loss, same. So both A and B we have. Now, out out of electrical, mechanical, and magnetic losses, the losses which is minimum is how many? Which loss is minimum? That is mechanical, 10 to 20%. The hysteresis motor are mainly used in tape recorders because of its extremely steady torque. Types of generator are separate and self, so both A and B. A DC generator works on the principle of, I already told you at the starting, Faraday law of an electromagnetic induction. So I hope you understand about all these. So these are the references from which I took some material to teach you to basically deliver this lecture. So you can just go through it. That is very good books available. E. Filgerat, Stephen J. Chapman, and R.K. Srivastava. These are all available in our library. You can just go through and read it, and they are very good books, having good content. So this is all about my side. Thank you for listening. Thank you for patient listening, students. I hope you understand about the types of losses we have. I hope you understand this thing. That how can we basically how can we limit the losses? So this is all about from my side. So thank you for listening, my dear student. Thank you for patient listening. I